part 2 of the Finer Things podcast. In case you missed it, there was a part 1 to this where we did cover our favorite sort of wine regions, particular wine, stuff like that. But for this episode, part 2 of this podcast, we're covering our favorite Scotch regions, distilleries. And we're going to actually, contrary to the couple bottles you'll see, we're just going to sample the Balvenie 14 Caribbean Cask because A, I like it a lot, and B, we drank a lot today.
Yes. And in fairness, the Caribbean Cask is really exceptional for the money. I think that's like $75, something like that, $75 per bottle.
Yeah.
Thereabouts. Just like the few times I've had it, it's just been very enjoyable, and definitely looking forward to more of that for sure. And what cigar are we pairing that with?
Really, really cool one, actually. So it's an Oliva family master blend. It's just 3 years aged. Or, I'm sorry, my mistake. This is the family master blend 3. So they do these limited release, what Oliva considers to be pretty freaking premium blends. Once they're gone, they're gone. They don't make them again. And it's a very robust, full-flavored cigar. And I've had a few now because I bought like a pack with various sizes, and it's a damn good one.
That does smell really good. I wonder how this is going to contrast with the Serie V Milanio that we had in the previous part of our podcast.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a valid point. I'd say it'll probably be maybe just slightly harsher, a little bit less sweet, if memory serves. I haven't had one of these in a few weeks, maybe a month and a half or something. Yeah, no, it does sort of finish with like a brown or like Demerara sugar type flavor. But you'll see for yourself in a minute, and I'm sure you'll.
When I cut it properly. It's a little bit better.
There we are. But I'd say,
Love the sound that
yeah.
makes you.
It's just smelling. Yeah, no, it's Balvenie in general. Every freaking dram I have from them is really something. And 14 Caribbean Cask is no different. 14 Caribbean Cask actually the first serious whiskey I ever paired with a serious cigar. And the serious cigar was the Ashen Cabinet #4 in the Churchill size. And that's a wonderful pairing. It's something I would really recommend. Yeah, we covered that in the first episode of the podcast, I believe.
Yes.
Paired with a wine?
Might have been.
Go back and look.
Wait. No. We paired that with the Gose.
Oh, did we?
We did. I remember that because the cabinet #4 is a lighter cigar on the lighter side, and we were hoping that it would pair up with the champagne, and
then
it
we
didn't.
paired the Perdomo, or that was a Padron, I think.
Padron.
Yeah, with the gin and tonic.
Yes.
Cool episode. We covered the audiophile lexicon part 1. Now we've up to this point now covered 3 parts of the audiophile lexicon, defining it anyhow. But and our favorite cars, I think, in that one.
The era of the automobile.
Yeah. Our favorite eras of automobile and cars that best embody those eras respectively. Again, cool episode. I would definitely check it out. But for this episode, talking about favorite regions, and we've got a little region map pulled up here, and considering we're drinking a Speyside,
We are.
I figure let's cover that.
Yeah, we can start with that.
Yeah, What are your thoughts on Speyside generally?
Some of my favorite Scotch whiskies come from Speyside. I think that's safe to say.
Mm.
A lot of fun whiskeys from Speyside. Macallan, of course. Balvenie, Speyside. There was something else. I believe Glenfarclas.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also
There are a lot of distilleries
Yes.
in Speyside, right? And actually, it's something you don't even really think too much about until you look at a map
Yep.
and you see how densely packed these are. Maybe we can get like a shot at that or something, screen grab.
Yeah.
Because it's just incredible. Like when you look at a map of Scotland in general, and then they have to kind of zoom in just on Speyside to show all of the distilleries because they can't fit it all on the map. It really goes to show. And what's funny is like, I think about all the distilleries and I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe all the ones from Speyside have, a similar flavor. They really don't.
No.
Like the Macallan is really, really smooth, and the Glenfarclas is pretty darn complex and not like incredibly smooth.
No.
It's smooth enough, but not buttery smooth.
Like
like
if you
the
compare
Macallan.
the 17 to the 21, like the 21 for the Glenfarclas gets to that super smooth rolls right down the sort of palate.
Sure.
But the
21 years.
17 is a
But
little spiky for
yeah.
a 17.
Then again, Macallan 15 is just like.
Yeah, even 12.
Yeah, even the
Not
12 is just
spiky
like
at all, huh?
no, not at all. Whatever it is that they're doing is they're doing pretty darn well.
Yeah, it's great to clean.
Yeah.
It's great to clean.
So Speyside is definitely a nice one there, and the Caribbean cask is just like what an incredible value.
Yeah, it's just
You get a lot of what I love about Speyside at a very reasonable price.
and that sort of like funkiness, the inherent funkiness you get from the humidity of the Caribbean cask aging is really what elevates it over the standard 12. Even the 12 single barrel, which is like similarly priced, I think it's like 65.
Something like that.
I do still prefer this because it's a lot more different. It has almost like a rum sweetness to it.
Yeah, it's definitely quite a bit more robust than the Serie B Millennium.
Yeah. A bit harsher.
Yeah.
But in an engaging way.
Yeah. It's very nice. Another one of my favored regions of Scotland is Islay.
Yep.
A lot of people say Islay,
Yeah.
Islay. It's Islay.
Yeah.
Just FYI. But Lefroy, Ardbeg.
Colilla.
Yes. Thank you for the wonderful pronunciation. Colilla. Really, really fantastic. I learned how to pronounce that from Ahmed because I was thinking Keolila.
Yeah, hopefully I'm saying it right.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean the way you say it is very entertaining. So I think I'm just going to keep saying it even if it's wrong. That way, I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Colilla, if you're not familiar, for most blended Scotch whiskies, if there's a smoky element to it, they're probably using Colilla, especially Johnny Walker, stuff like that.
Sure.
They're absolutely using Colilla.
Oh yeah. What I love about the Islay whiskeys is that, for the most part, they take smoothness, they crumple it up, they throw it right out the window.
Some of the really special ones.
Well, yes, but for the most part, what I've experienced is it's not a matter of smoothness. They are complex. They are smoky. They are peaty. They are just like intense and in your face and like ah.
Yeah.
And it's just so different from your typical like Highland or some of the Speysides, which are kind of a little more gentle, a little more like we'll treat you okay, and like Ardbeg is just like boom, smoke billowing, peat thrown at you like. And it's just like, whoa, if you want a really intense experience, something like an Ardbeg or some of the more special Lefroigs especially, even the standard issue Lefroig is absolutely incredible, the Lefroig 10. But one of my friends went to Scotland and actually got to tour the Lefroig distillery, and he brought back a single barrel edition of Lefroig that was not at all available to anyone else unless you went to the distillery that particular month, I think, is when they featured it. And I was ever so fortunate to be able to taste, because it was a very, very small bottle that he brought back. They weren't giving like full size bottles of this away. And to my understanding, he paid a pretty penny to get this as well. But it tasted like bacon. Like it tasted like really high quality bacon. It was just so unique, and not something that you typically taste in a Scotch whiskey. And another fun piece of knowledge that he brought back, it's like, okay, well, what do they call Scotch in Scotland? They call it whiskey. So to them, us uncultured Americans calling it Scotch, they're like, huh?
Yeah.
You wanker.
Yeah.
that's another lovely term that they use. But they just call it whiskey.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
I wonder, if they have like, cool names for whiskey.
Bourbon or something.
Yeah. That'd be interesting. Yeah, American.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna sit down with my glass of American. Yeah.
But one thing I would say, like, having had this Caribbean cask the other day with the much lighter Oliva Series G with the Connecticut wrapper, there was a.
Does the wrapper come from Connecticut?
No, Connecticut's a style, so it's. I think that wrapper is Nicaraguan, but I don't remember.
It's just that style.
Yeah, that style, Connecticut cut, so essentially though, there was a sort of an astringent, stingy, rum-ish, profile to this. In comparison to right now, I feel like this, because it's so intense and robust, is just making this sugary sweet.
Yep. I was just going to say, there is a serious sweetness to this whiskey that I have never tasted before, at least not to the level that I am tasting now with this cigar. And it's really interesting pairings. They bring about different characters of things that you know so well on their own, but then you mix it together, and the sum of their parts is greater, or the synergy rather is greater than the sum of their parts. This is definitely one of those things where this has brought the Caribbean cask to just the next level. I think.
I'm not gonna lie, it's so weird, but like to me, it's really like almost like a sherry, or what's that other sweet dessert wine?
Port?
No.
Madeira?
God, maybe I am just thinking of sherry and I'm stupid.
A couple different kinds of sherry.
What's what did we have at Yono's? That was sherry?
Oh, maybe, or was it a tawny port?
No, it wasn't a port.
It was probably a sherry then. Sherries can be very good. Just on a side topic here, real quick. Sherries, I feel like, are undervalued because there are a lot of sherries out there that are associated as like cooking wine, and they're very low quality, and fine, place and time for that. There are some genuinely. It's fair. There are some genuinely high quality sherries, and they're not even that expensive. Like a friend of mine picked up a bottle for like $20, which I guess is kind of high for sherry.
Sure.
But it was delicious, absolutely incredible. 5 out of 5 would recommend. Definitely going to get that for myself at some point in time. It was very, very enjoyable.
But yeah, it's the just forward sweetness is sherry-like.
It definitely is, and it's kind of strange, from this Caribbean cask, which is normally not like that at all. I don't think I would associate sweetness with it normally. Would you?
That rum sweetness. That's what I feel like, but it's kind of above, like the underlying, sort of buttery, vanilla, intense, typical, space side flavors, almost biscuit-like, honey biscuit type of thing. Especially which the Balvenie 12 is like.
It's like a biscuit.
Yeah, quite a bit. I really like Balvenie 12. It's
like a Cheddar Bay biscuit, Popeye's biscuit. or an English biscuit, which is like a cracker.
I
Biscuits.
but this is like it's typically it's typically more like traditional Speyside with a whole other dimension of
Yeah.
spiciness and rum characteristics that are imparted by the Caribbean sort of aging.
Yeah.
Maybe even in rum casks. I don't remember.
Maybe. I'm really not sure.
But right now it feels like a dessert.
Which is very welcome considering we're filming this at
1:30. Yeah.
1:30, basically right on the nose. Yeah, we stayed up late for this one, but totally worth it though. This is a great dessert after a long day of kind of setting things up. This is actually this podcast is our first video set outdoors.
Yep.
You'll see some behind the scenes if you check out our Facebook of just how this was all set up. It's pretty intense. What
For
we had
an
to go
outdoor
through.
setup. Yeah.
Yep. We knocked some things over a couple of times. Yeah. Fortunately, it's not too windy, so we didn't have to worry too much. And we got a better tripod for the camera, so there weren't any mishaps. But we have a pretty robust setup out here, and it took a lot of planning to get that through. So we ended up filming this a little bit later than we maybe wanted to. No, this is worth it though. We're enjoying a nice dessert outside. The weather's not too bad. It's not too hot, not too cold. Just a touch of humidity, but I'm fine with it. Anyway, what's next on our list?
I'm so obsessed with this.
I can see that. You're almost done.
Spicy sweetness. It's just like, damn, it's good.
Really loving this cigar too.
Yeah, the cigar is strong enough that it is kind of killing the whiskey to piece in my mouth. A little bit after I pull.
It is, and maybe this commands slightly more robust.
Yeah,
whiskey.
I think so.
You could probably do like a pretty heavy hitting bourbon with this.
Sure.
Probably be
Yeah,
good.
absolutely. And I think that would really also bring out the syrupy sweetness
Yes.
that bourbon tends to have.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
But
Yeah, take a look. What's our next venture there?
So for me, I actually had forgotten it was even the region that it's from, but the Orkney Islands, where Highland Park is from, I love Highland Park. I happen to believe, and you can see that bottle's almost empty. I happen to believe Highland Park 12 specifically is one of the biggest value plays in whiskey.
How much does a bottle of that go for?
Like $40-50.
pretty good.
And it is just such an easy drinker. I actually find the 15 to be a little more spiky
Than the 12,
Then
really?
Yeah, in my opinion, but pretty unique, right?
Yeah,
Makes sense.
Usually the
The
higher
opposite,
age statements, yeah.
15 is great too. It's a little more like it comes across as more peated to me. But the 12 is it's so buttery. It's just something I would relax, I listen to music, and just drink some of the Highland Park 12. Even just like play some games. It's such a delight for the money, and it's not simple either. It's multifaceted. Highly recommended for the money. About Highland Park in general, I've had some of their, I forgot what they call, like the Valhalla edition, like the black bottles. I've sampled one or two of those, and those are quite nice as well. I'd really like to try some of the high age statement, like 21 Highland Parks.
I was at Total Wine earlier. They had 21, 25.
I think they make a 30.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah.
I thought I saw a 30, but that might have been the Balvenie 30 that I saw.
I think they make a 30, but Highland Park is just awesome, and I'm so happy that distribution-wise that they're pretty big, because it's really something that I think everybody should try.
Definitely. And like the Glenfarclas, you can't just walk into a liquor store and find that.
Oh yeah, not most. The Glenfarclas is awesome though. It's
Yeah.
that's
That's a tasty one too, especially for the money.
in my experience so far the most underrated Speyside
Yep,
distillery.
for sure.
Um,
I had never heard of them until we went to the Ashton Cigar
Yep.
Bar, and we tried the 21, and it was just mind blowing. It was really incredible. You know, we saw the high age statement and the relatively low price. It's like, give it a try.
That's where I've been eyeballing them quite a bit, like on the internet for a while. Because you look at the 21, the 25, even the, I think it's the 31 is the other one,
Something
the 30,
like
something
that,
like that. Yeah. And you know, relative to the age statement, it's like, damn, like, is there something wrong with this? Believe me, there's not.
No.
Glenfarclas, so far, you know, I personally only had, I think we maybe both only had the 17 and the 21.
Yes.
But I'm really looking to try like the 12 and the 25.
Yeah. See how they stack up.
Yeah, and you know, I'm expecting a significant harshness, just because how much harsher the 17 is than the 21.
Yeah.
It's kind of in your face, but in a really nice way.
Definitely. Looking forward to that. One of the first, in my humble opinion, serious whiskeys that I had, I was 21, was from the Highland region, Glenmorangie, which is very popular. They're distributed in the U.S. by Moët, so they have pretty good presence all around. You can find them in a lot of bars. And I happened to be at a bar where they had the Glenmorangie, and they actually had a pretty decent lineup. They had the 12, they had the extra matured, the Quinta Ruban, the La Santa, and the Nectar d'Or. And you know, I got to kind of taste my way through that, take my journey through the Glenmorangie line, and that was really interesting to see how different each one was. You know, the Highlands, they have this sort of spiciness, but at the same time, it's fairly smooth. Not really a whole lot of peat, at least with the Glenmorangie line. It's very low or no peat, but especially the Nectar d'Or is just like honeyed, and you get just this nice vanilla. It's very calming and
Nectar d'Or is, I think, one of the best scotches to introduce a new Scotch drinker to.
Yep, that's default Scotch gifting whiskey for many.
Yeah, 100%, and I can see why.
Yeah.
Like I remember we took our friend Brian to the Speakeasy in Albany.
Yep.
And it was, you know, something that we sampled there because he was less
didn't really know.
initiated.
Yeah, he didn't
Yeah.
know too much about Scotch, and that was a really good experience.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, Miss Brian.
Oh yeah, I do. He's in Texas now.
Yep. Having a whole family out there. So.
Yep.
What an idiot progressing his life.
I'm telling you, he could be sitting here with us, drinking whiskey, smoking cigars, enjoying the finer things.
But, cheers to you, Brian. Hopefully,
yes.
Hopefully you see it.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to think here.
Well, there's Isle of Man.
Yeah.
I don't know too many. I know there are distilleries there. I don't know.
Talisker
Yeah.
from Isle of Skye is
Isle of Skye, yeah.
super solid.
Oh yeah.
No,
Briny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh. So yeah, some of those Taliskers are very entertaining to drink, and really like a journey on their own. Those are very enjoyable.
See. I guess we didn't talk too much about Ardbeg.
Not too much, but that's like the Ardbeg 10 even is just
amazing value.
Oh my goodness, yeah. And that's right around the $50 mark as well. And it's totally different than most other whiskeys I've had, because it's just peat, smoke, and just that intensity is really well. That might even go well.
Drink.
No, it's not hard to drink.
Yeah.
It's not. And I've gone through all of their like right around $100 bottles. They're weird names like Corryvreckan and something. I don't even know. But they have a lot of nice ones there, and I would like to taste some of their higher age statement ones because, again, I really like what some of the more accessible bottles taste like, and I'd like to see what maybe some extra smoothness in there or complexity is yielded from extra time in the barrel. I think that'd be really interesting. I'd really like sometime to kind of take a tour of Scotland and
100%. Yeah.
taste the different regions. I mean, it's not that big of a country. You could probably do it in a week or so, 2 weeks.
Another one that comes to mind for me is the Octomore.
Oh yeah.
I
think that's part of the Brutolotic.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Truly.
Isla, once again.
Yeah. They tout themselves as like some of the most peated, maybe the most peated whiskeys, single malt scotches.
I wouldn't disagree with that at all, because it just like takes that peat and that smoke to the next level. And
so you know how we said
very low age statements relative to the amount of money that they charge when you compare it to other brands, other distillers.
Very limited production.
Extremely limited
overall,
production.
Yeah.
I've had, I think, a 5-year and an 8-year from them. And just so that we're on the same page, Scotch whiskey, in order to be called Scotch, you're aging a minimum of 3. So the fact that they're offering a 5-year is like, okay, so you're just
borderline.
You're just barely qualifying as a Scotch whiskey. But regardless of the age statement, my goodness, just absolutely incredible stuff. Really enjoyable. Both times that I've enjoyed their whiskeys, it's just been just a very special experience overall.
And what I would say is, sort of how we said, Glenmorangie, but more specifically Nectar d'Or is the great entry level. Octomore is like the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
if Octomore is the first whiskey someone had, they might never drink whiskey again.
Maybe not.
That would be way over the top.
Same kind of goes with the Ardbeg as well, and Lefroy. That can possibly turn a lot of people off or turn a lot of people on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very polarizing. Where something like a Macallan is not universally praised, but pretty darn popular.
The thing about Macallan too is universally known. People don't give a crap about watches. They know Rolex. People don't give a crap about sound. They know Bose. People don't really know anything or care about Scotch whiskey. They know Johnny Walker, but they know Macallan.
Right. For single malt, they know Macallan, and Macallan is often touted as the Rolls Royce of Scotch, and they do some pretty crazy stuff.
I would say they are.
Yeah, they definitely. I mean, they make some pretty high end stuff. I mean, they have a lot of super high age statements, like 30-year. They have Macallan M. They even had a very special whiskey. They actually have a whole series of very special whiskeys, but the most special of that series was the 64-year, which is just like 64 years old.
In the barrel. Imagine how much is evaporating in that time. Too.
Yes. Fun factoid: every single year that Scotch whiskey sits in a barrel, or any sort of spirit sits in the barrel, you lose about 2% to evaporation. They call that the angel share. So that's 2% every single year, though. So, you start with, a certain size barrel, and after, let's say, 10 years, you're left with only a certain amount.
Yeah.
But for a 64-year, you have to start with a giant barrel in order to have a reasonable yield. Exactly. Not only is it the time and making sure that the conditions are right and making sure that it's developing the right flavor profiles, complexity, so on and so forth, but also it's a matter of, okay, we got to sit down and do some calculations here so that we don't actually run out of whiskey, by the time we're done aging.
I'm sure a lot of them spoil too.
Yeah, it's very possible.
64 years, it's like the same thing with like a giant television, right?
Absolutely.
Like when you're cutting a 98-inch panel.
Oh yeah.
A bunch of them are going to break.
Oh yeah, for sure. Or just not have the uniformity that's acceptable for that level of production. The Macallan, the 64-year, and a number of other Macallans, they actually they put them in very special containers. It's a very special crystal called La Lique. It's a French company, and Macallan partnered with them, and they create these beautiful kind of frosted crystal containers that are just drop-dead gorgeous. Probably some of the best looking that I've seen, period. Having said that, that Balvenie 14 Caribbean Cask bottle is just like, that's a nice shape.
And
for something that's reasonably priced. I really like the shape of that.
There are a bunch of space size that use that design.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's the most beautiful bottle design in whiskey.
It's gorgeous.
Simple,
it really is.
But phenomenal.
Absolutely.
And I actually got turned on to the Balvenie by the late great Anthony Bourdain, who he made a YouTube series where relatively short in its life, but was sponsored by the Balvenie. It was actually really, really cool. Very much in the vein of what we do. Just a lot better, because Anthony Bourdain and tremendous production value. But legitimately speaking, it was really, really cool. They basically just featured a bunch of handmade artisanal just stuff. One was like knives, one was like suits, and the Balvenie was sort of featured in all of them.
Nice.
In a sense, anyway.
Yeah,
but
of course. Well, I mean, if it's sponsored by them, I'm sure they found a way to kind of sneak it in there,
But
yes, well, you can't have a fine tailored suit without a glass of Balvenie
Yeah.
at your side, because if it isn't there,
I love the perspective of the old expert tailor, where he, or I guess really seamster as well, where he really was he was talking about how a good suit, if it's going to look right, has to have very high on the suit body armholes, and that's just the way to do it. And he was like, it's less comfortable, and some people might think, oh well, this is uncomfortable, but that's just the way to do it. And if you don't like it, wear worse suits. That was
that's fair. I mean, to get that certain look, that's compromises have to be made in fashion anyway.
But going back to that comparison between Macallan and Rolls Royce, I really like that, because it's really so similar in concept, right? What's Rolls Royce? Rolls Royce is an ultra luxury, focused on extreme comfort. It's for somebody who wants to be wafted around and separated from the world.
They use that term. I love that term. The car just wafts down
and
the road.
how many horsepower? An adequate amount.
Yes,
because
enough.
It doesn't matter. And when you
the
talk
old
about
Rolls Royce, that was great. They didn't really even specify that.
When you talk about Macallan, it's for somebody, and I love it sometimes.
Yeah.
It's for it's for those times where you just want to be wafted away on your little whiskey journey.
Super smooth.
Yeah, and that's.
I have a bottle of 18 at home that's just like, oh.
Yeah, and I've had some nice time with the 21 that they finish in sherry. Also, I think it's a 21 they do in fine oak.
Yep.
Which is fantastic. I have a sip left of Macallan Quest, which is exclusive to travelers. It's specifically sold in what are those called? Duty free shops. Yeah, and I picked that up on the way home from Asia a while ago, and awesome stuff.
Yeah.
I remember one time early in the evening, I was like, I'm not going to drink much. Put on some music, and I had one dram, and I'll have another. Okay, I'll have another. Okay, I'll have another. And now I'm 2 or 3 albums deep, and kind of drunk, and I'm like, let's turn this up louder. Let's do heavier pours. And killed about 75% of that bottle in a sitting, and then just laid there half dead but happy anyway. Yeah, no, it's
drinks like that, they can be dangerous.
Yeah, no, my brain's like, pour more right now, because this
It reminds me of the time. We talk a lot over the phone because we don't live near each other. Ahmed and I, we're about almost 3 hours away from each other. So
without traffic.
Yeah, without traffic, and so a lot of our conversations occur over the phone, and they can last for hours. We regularly have 3-4 hour conversations, just catching up with each other, and I get into this habit of pouring myself an adult beverage or two
and
or
that
three.
Inspires me. This is how it goes, right? This is how it goes. I am either just finishing like a late afternoon, early evening, like coffee and cigar, or it's into the evening. I've not really thought about drinking or anything yet, and we're on the phone, and I'm like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I just made a gin and tonic, and I'm like,
Yep.
and my knee-jerk reaction is, nah, I shouldn't drink, and my bad influence. It's like, oh, come on, man, just make yourself one, and I'm like, all right. 4.5 hours later, we're ranting and raving, and Grandpa Nick's falling asleep.
Well. No. That only happens 100% of the time. Literally, he'll be talking about something, whatever it might be, and then he'll just hear snoring on the other end of the
I wait
line.
a second. They say, Nick, hang up, go inside, tell my girlfriend. She's like, oh, you finished? Well, I was talking. Nick's sleeping. But
Yep, Grandpa Nick. That's
Grandpa
me.
Nick.
That's me.
I
Yeah, I mean, and there are times where, one time I remember I ran out of tonic water. I had like maybe a quarter of the amount of tonic that I should have had, and I said, you know what?
fill the rest away.
Ahmed's still drinking, so I'm just gonna fill this up with gin and just go for it, and send it. And I certainly send it.
So I poured a very small amount.
of the 17.
Yeah, the Glenfarclas.
Glenfarclas 17, beautiful.
And because of the cigar, I'm just getting sweet smoke on the nose. Pretty much nothing else.
It's such a beautiful whiskey.
Yeah. So that stands up.
Stands up a little bit better than the Balvenie.
Yeah. It still has the intense.
After smelling that, and then just smelling this it didn't smell like anything.
Yeah, and I'm sure if you taste it now, it's just syrup.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
A little bit of spice, but yeah.
So that's
Sweet.
what this is doing. It right at the beginning, it spikes.
Yep.
In an intense, forward spicy way, and then it goes right back down into, again, kind of almost like sherry. Take this little sip.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like,
Roller coaster.
yeah. Huge drop off.
Big
right
high
away.
and then
Yeah. It's
just
like,
calms right down. But the finish.
yeah.
Oh man.
Stone fruit, like a very, like a unsweetened, like apricot type flavor.
Yeah.
Is kind of what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a moment where I was thinking it was cherry, but no, it's definitely more like an apricot, a peach. Very sweet. Very nice.
And that burnt orange that we were getting last time, it's there, but
Not really.
it's pretty much gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very much muted compared to what this beverage is on its own. Pairings are just an amazing thing. I've said it probably 100 times. I'll say it at least 100 more. It's just. I don't think I would be into any of this stuff if the pairings didn't work.
Yep.
Really, I just would be disinterested just so fast because at that point it's like, okay, well, what are you drinking for? What are you smoking for?
I agree.
Oh, I smoke to get the tobacco high. I drink to get drunk. Well, no. We're testing the waters here of various different cigars pairing with various different whiskeys and seeing how they interact because it's genuinely interesting. It really is.
I think a lot of people, not don't understand, but they don't see
They don't
because
take
they
the
haven't
time.
experienced
Yeah.
it. And it's not that people are incapable. I think
No.
almost anybody is really capable. It's just a matter of taking the time, spending the money, but you don't have to spend a lot.
No,
you can
you
pair
don't.
a nice cigar, like a $10-15 cigar, with something like Monkey Shoulder.
Yep.
And that too is transformative. It's
It's like adding Rel subwoofers to a sound system.
so Nick's referencing really a couple of videos I guess we did, but should be like 2 or 3 videos before this. We film obviously in advance, but we again discovered this amazing experience with this really inexpensive pair of speakers, $150 for a pair of Sony speakers, and yes, paired with
SSC
25
5s
grand
or something like that.
SSCS9.
Yeah, sure.
something
Yeah,
like
that.
The Sony Core Series bookshelves that retail for $150. You can buy
Yep.
them. But again, go watch the video, and there's a bit more detailed information there.
Yep.
But the musical experience that you're getting with those speakers, paired with all the other accoutrements that go with a system like that.
Yep.
But more specifically, those REL subwoofers and the RCAM integrated amplifier. It's a totally different experience, and
You
that's,
start tapping your feet and you start really just getting engulfed in what you're listening to. It's really something. And again, that's another form of pairing. I guess that's kind of becoming the theme of this particular section of our podcast.
Yeah.
Is pairings are huge, and if they didn't exist, the world would not be such an interesting place. It really wouldn't.
But look, at the end of the day, whether you're smoking an Oliva, a Davidoff,
Padron.
a Padron, even a Drew Estate, whatever you're smoking, whether you're drinking something that's Highland, Orkney Islands, Speyside, Isla, others. But seriously, there's such an amazing
Highland, lowland, midland,
Iceland.
Iceland.
There's such an amazing world of stuff out there.
Really.
You really should dip your toes in it. I think that's what we do here on our channel is try to show people all the things you can dip your toes into,
For
whether
sure.
it's automobiles, coffee, chocolate, wine, whiskey, cool establishments, uninteresting idiots.
Yeah, truly the finer things in life, especially the last part there, the uninteresting idiots.
Yes.
Definitely.
But if you're enjoying this, please subscribe, tap the bell for notifications, share
Give the
with your
video a
friends. Yeah, give the video a like. Reach out to your buddies and let them know that you want to try some of this stuff. Give us some recommendations and stuff you already tried. Explain to us the amazing pairing you found, because we want to hear it, because we want to try it and maybe even feature it.
Because we're into that kind of stuff. I don't know if you could tell. Maybe?
A little.
Yeah.
A little.
Yeah.
But, as far as social media goes, we're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We'd love to see you guys over there.
Absolutely.
But I think that about does it for part 2
Yeah, I
of
think,
the Finer Things podcast.
we did it.
We did.
We did it.
Till next time.